Welcome back to the Work Hard, Live Soft podcast, where I tell you how to build a successful business so you have the freedom to design a life you love. In today's episode, we are going to talk about my process for preparing for an upcoming launch or marketing campaign. And I'm thinking through all of the things that I have launched throughout the years, including this podcast. And if you're like me, you might get a little bit nervous before a launch. Even before I record a new episode, I get so nervous. Like before I launch this podcast, which I've had the idea for years, but the time I finally figured out my outfits and the name and the description of the podcast, and when I finally sat down to record, I got so nervous. But I want to share some of the things that can help you work through those nerves and better prepare for when you are launching. And as you are listening, I want you to share some of the things that actually make you nervous about your new projects or your new offers and launches, because I want to be able to share more episodes about how to work through some of those nerves. So I have been launching online now for over a decade. I've actually been in the coaching space for about 9-10 years now. And prior to that, I was running a design agency. And I don't think that I ever really formally had a launch. I was working off of referrals. I had built my brand. And before I made six figures, I relied on my brand and brand building and connections and networking and all of that to help me grow my business. But when I wanted to go beyond six figures, when I actually wanted to cross six figures and go beyond six figures to multiple 6 and 7 figures, I had to actually make sure I was implementing launch strategies and marketing strategies. So before six figures, I got clear on what I wanted to be known for. I was running a blog and I had content marketing. And so I was just naturally sharing who I was as an agency owner, or what it was like to work with me as a client, and just some of my learnings. And I naturally connected with people online, and I relied on my network heavily. I got a lot of my clients through referrals. And I really think that this process is fine as you are working on growing your business. But when you are being really intentional about hitting six figures, going beyond six figures, it is really important to make sure you have a process for your marketing campaigns and your launch strategies. And I started getting more intentional and clear with this once I built my team, because nothing helps you get more clear on systems and processes like when you actually have to pay people. And when things aren't working, but you recognize you paid money and you invested time in something to work and it doesn't, you're responsible for looking at the system or looking at the process and saying, okay, what was the gap, right? Like, why didn't this work? I knew I wanted to hit this goal. I knew I wanted to have this result, but there is a specific gap missing. And in one of my previous episodes, I talked about what it's like to not hit results and how to create your own system. So I will make sure I reference it in the show notes if you want to go back and see how I create systems for just anything. But today we are going to talk about how to specifically create a system for your upcoming launch or your marketing campaign. And so I use those words interchangeably because oftentimes what I see is when people say that they want to launch, in their mind, a launch looks like just publishing something online. And the biggest mistake that people have when it comes to launching and why they're finding their launch is not successful is because they are mistaking an announcement with a launch, right? And just announcing something or just hitting publish and now your website is live does not mean you are launching. So just because you went live and something is available to be magically found does not mean that it is a launch. A launch is a series of marketing strategies. It is a marketing campaign from the beginning to the end in order for you to get in front of your ideal client and for them to be able to find you. It is a really strategic process in getting your message and your offer in front of the right people with a goal to either grow your list or a goal to make more money or a goal to really just increase your overall visibility. So I would say the first thing that you want to do when you are working on a launch or a marketing campaign strategy is you have to be able to actually identify the goal. Why are you even launching, right? So are you launching because you need to get 500 new people on your email list? Are you launching because you want to grow your following and increase your visibility? Are you launching because you want to make an additional $10,000 within the month? You have to identify, what is the purpose of the launch? What do I want it to do for my company? So the first thing you have to do is you have to actually identify the goal and the purpose of the launch. And you want to set your goal realistically based on where you are right now. So if you're making, let's say, $5,000 a month in your business, it's not going to be the most realistic thing to say, okay, now I suddenly want to have a $50,000 launch, right? And it's not because, this is not me like instilling doubt, but looking at trends, right? Like when we're setting goals and we're doing things in our business, the way to be quote unquote realistic is to look at the data and look at the trends of what you have done. And the reason that I give this caveat is because, we're talking about I always see people saying I'm going to be delusional. I'm going to be delulu. Like you have to be that sometimes. You have to have crazy faith. And I love it. I want you to have faith. I want you to have faith in the data that you can grow incrementally, but I don't want you to set yourself up for disappointment by throwing a number or throwing a goal out there that's not backed by evidence, okay? So we want to set a goal that is realistic, that's backed by data or backed by evidence. And if you have no evidence, maybe this is your first launch, I just want you to look at what is my starting point and what is the next realistic milestone based on what I already have in place. So if you have, let's say you have an email list of 500 people and you have 3,000 followers, maybe your launch goal is to make $6,000 or maybe it's to make $10,000, something that is in relation to what you already have in place. Also, considering what you have in place in terms of the price point of the thing that you're actually selling, okay? So we want to set a goal that is realistic based on where you currently are and or based on the data from your previous launches. So that is the first thing, setting your goal. Then when I think about my launch, I envision in my mind a funnel, right? Because when I think about a marketing campaign, when I think about a launch, I do think about a marketing funnel. And for those of you who aren't familiar with a funnel, visually what you will see is like a triangle where the flat part is at the top and then you'll see it become more narrow. And the reason that it is designed like that, because when you have a launch or a funnel or a marketing cycle, there are different steps to your launch. And at the top, you're going to have more people. And as you continue going through your launch cycle or your launch pattern, the conversion or the amount of people paying attention is going to reduce. And this is natural for everybody because you're not going to be able to keep the attention of 100% of the people that come in. And so when I'm thinking about my funnel, I'm thinking at the very, very, very top before people even enter the funnel. I think about who is my audience, what is my message, and what is my offer. We have to know those three things before we even think about the funnel or think about how the launch is going to perform for us. I've noticed that more and more women are wanting to start their business, but the logistics of building a business is causing them to hesitate or procrastinate. Is that you? Be honest. You know you have a skill set or a message inside of you that can transform someone's life or business, but there's so much noise online that you don't know where to start. Okay, here's the advice I'd give to you and what we've done for our clients. First, you need to get really clear on what you want to be known for. What is your expertise? What are your top skill sets? You need to get clear on your message and how you want to package it. Next, you need to create an offer that can accomplish two things. It needs to make you money and it needs to make an impact. Then you need to create a marketing strategy that's going to get you in front of your dream clients. And lastly, you need to implement a system so your revenue can become predictable month after month. This is exactly how we help our clients and been able to get them results. Like one of our clients, Tiaya, who generated over $17,000 from taking her expertise as a writer and launching a program for inspiring authors. Or Jennifer, who took her skills as a school teacher and generated $30,000 in 30 days by helping other school teachers make money as a tutor. And those are just two of hundreds of examples of our clients who have been through our framework. You can start building your brand and getting your first set of clients within the next 90 days with the right support and the right focus. If you've been looking for coaching, community, and expert guidance so you can take your business to the next level, stop feeling so confused online, Apply to work with us. Go to builttoimpact.com/ready. Let's hop on a call and take your business to the next level. So when I'm having a conversation with my team and we know we want to get, more people to sign up for Impact Weekend, or we want more people to sign up for one of our courses or our programs, we have to say, one, what is it that we're even selling? This is the question to ask if you already have an offer in place. So there's a couple of different ways to think about it, but the first way I'm going to have you think about it is if you already have an existing offer, you need to re-clarify what is it that we want to sell out of all of our offers. So for this example, I'll say we're going to sell Impact Weekend, and the team needs to know how much the price point is for Impact Weekend. What are the different pricing tiers? Is there a pay in full? Is there a payment plan? So as we are communicating and having sales conversations, they are aware of that. But they also need to know who are the type of people that we want to serve at Impact Weekend. This is going to allow us to cater our messaging to our ideal attendee. And so you have to think about your offer. Then you have to think, when we create content, when we create our marketing assets, does our messaging align with the type of person we believe our offer can best serve? Okay, so this is a question to ask. Does the messaging align with the offer, and does the messaging align with the person that we want to attract, who we believe our offer can best serve? So for us, we know with the majority of our offers, we are targeting female entrepreneurs, primarily Black female entrepreneurs, and primarily women of faith. This does not mean that our offers cannot help men. This does not mean that our offers can't help people who don't identify as a woman of faith. This does not mean that our offers can't help non-Black entrepreneurs. It means that we're very clear on who we are targeting based on who we believe we can best serve. Experience shows that the people who have trusted my voice the most have been Black female entrepreneurs who also identify as women of faith. And so that is who we want to target. So you want to think about, who can I best serve? So I consider my audience, my messaging, and my offer before I even start figuring out my complete launch strategy. Now, if you don't already have an offer, but you want to, launch your business, you want to put yourself out there, what I would then consider is, what is my messaging and who do I want my audience to be? Who do I want my audience to be based on what my expertise is? And then what I would do from there is think about, what does my audience need right now in terms of what they are struggling with and what they need the most support in. Then you want to create an offer that is based on their needs. Okay? So there's two ways to kind of go about figuring out your offer, your messaging, and your audience, either based on if you already have an offer or if you are creating a new offer. So that is the very first thing that my team and I do. Well, I do that, and then I explain to my team, here's who we're working with, here's what we're going to be selling when we implement this launch strategy. The next thing after that is we think to ourselves, how do we now get in front of these people? And so I teach some of this concept in one of my courses called Activate Your Extra Brand. And I talk about leveraging your messaging on your owned platforms and on OPP, other people's platforms. So we then take the messaging, we say, what is the messaging that resonates with our ideal client? Some of the messaging that resonates with our client is building a coaching business, building a 6-figure business, having a 5-figure launch, generating $10,000 a month consistently, knowing how to master your message, knowing how to build a profitable brand. So we take the keywords of those messages and we say, how can we take those concepts, understand their pain points, understand their desires, and then create content around that? And once we have the content fleshed out, how do we then get that content and that message in front of them? So there are two ways. So on our owned platforms, that means, how do we get this content on Maya's Instagram? How do we get it on Maya's Facebook? How do we get it on her YouTube? How do we get it on her website? How do we use this content to send out emails? Any platforms that have my name on it, I might not necessarily own it, right? Like we don't own our social media, but it has my name on it. we consider, okay, what is the content plan to get in front of those people? And then when we are leveraging borrowed platforms or other people's platforms, now we're thinking about, how can Maya get on more podcasts? How can Maya do collaborations? So you want to think about, what are the ways I want to be able to get myself out there? And I love being able to get on other people's platforms because it's a way that I've been able to grow my brand without having to leverage ads, because I'm getting in front of somebody else's audience without having to pretty much pay for it. My payment is actually offering value to that audience. So that's what I think about. Now that I know my offer, I know my message, I need to get my message in front of other people. The next step to this funnel is, how do I then get these people's information? Because when you're going through a launch process, you want to consider, how do I actually know that these people are interested in what I have to sell? So your message has to be compelling enough where they want to continue learning from you. They want to continue following you. And so what we do is we say, how can we develop proof that they want to hear about our offers? And so this is about getting their information or generating leads, right? So getting these people on our email list, getting them to book a call with us, getting them to share their phone number with us so we can text them. So you have to decide, how can I get these people's information? So when I'm creating content or I'm going on other people's platform, I think about, what resource do I have in place where I can incentivize them to give me their email address, or to incentivize them to book a call so I can, what we call, nurture them, which is going to be the next step, continue building trust, and then eventually tell them about my offer. The whole purpose of your marketing campaign is to build trust at every single level. So if somebody has never heard of you before, or maybe they have heard of you, but they've never purchased anything from you before, your goal is to build trust at every level. They need to trust you because they hear your messaging and they're like, okay, I trust that she knows what she's talking about. Then at the next level, they're like, okay, she's giving me more value for free. I trust her value. I'm going to give her my information to receive something. Then they're going to trust you because you're going to nurture them, meaning you're giving them more content that establishes rapport and supports them with their goals. And then you want to get them to a place where you invite them to work with you, whether you were selling a one-on-one or some type of done-for-you package or an event or whatever it is. So once you figure out how you can incentivize them to share their email, what you want to do is you want to actually utilize the fact that they gave you your information. And so a common mistake that I see with people is they're like, I'm just going to send out a once-a-month newsletter, right? This monthly newsletter, I'm just going to send one thing out. And I'm like, how do you expect to continue building trust and generating sales if they are only hearing from you once a month? We send out emails probably 2 to 3 times a week, and on the low end, we're sending out 1 email per week. Now, some people might be listening and thinking that is way too many. And it's too many if we're not giving out value. It's too many if every single email is an ask. If every single email is, hey, give us money. Hey, give us money. Hey, give us money. But the majority of our emails are providing value. And I want you to think about running your marketing campaign the way you would think about the dating process, right? If I come across somebody's profile the same way somebody would come across your website or they would come across your Instagram, and they are interested, they click follow, and you guys start having a conversation, you're wanting to learn more about them. You're wanting to hear from them. You're wanting that good morning text. You're wanting the invite to go out to dinner. You're wanting to hear from them consistently, right? That's like one of the main things that women look for, even men too, in relationships. Is this person consistent? If you heard from this person only once a month, and every single time you heard from them, they were asking you for something, you would be completely turned off. And so you need to think about the same thing in relationships. How often are people hearing from you? Are they hearing from you consistently? And when they're hearing from you, are you giving something to them before asking for something? So in marketing, there's this saying called give, ask, right? And it's not down to a literal science of give them value 3 times and then ask them the 4th time. It's really just this premise of building a habit of, how can I provide value so when I invite them to work with me, that they already feel like they can trust me And they can trust that when I invite them to purchase something from me, that there's going to be value associated with it, right? And again, it's going to be the same thing in dating. They're inviting you to dates. You're wanting to go on the date because of the conversation before. You want to go from dating to being engaged. You trust that you can be engaged to them and have a long-term relationship based on the consistency of the dates. And so you just want to ask yourself, am I building trust along the way when I'm wanting to eventually sell something? So that process is going to be called nurturing. You are nurturing the relationship. You are providing value to them. And then the final step is going to be your conversion. This means that, again, you have to think about the end goal, right? So when it comes to dating, for people who are prioritizing dating for marriage, the end goal is, how do I convert you into my husband? How do I convert you into my wife? I'm going to meet you. I'm going to get to know you. I'm going to nurture you. I'm going to take you on dates. I'm going to introduce you to my family. I'm going to propose to you. And then the end goal is to then get married, right? And then we're going to talk about like a bonus end step that I do think is important. But the end game is to convert them into being a client or customer, but not even just so that you can make money in your business, right? But for me, I deeply believe that selling is serving, because I know people will be impacted so much more with my paid offers. And when they themselves make the investment to purchase something from me, than they would if I was giving something away for free or they were only consuming my free content. So we want to invite them to invest in themselves through your offers so that they can get the results that they are looking for. So at the beginning, you want to really identify, what is my goal? Do I want to make an extra $10,000? Do I need an extra 7 clients, whatever it is? And then the goal by the time you get to conversion is say, have I built enough trust amongst my audience to generate this type of money or help these many clients? So the end of your funnel is technically going to be conversion, but that next added step is going to also now be your retention strategy. How do you keep these people in your ecosystem? And this is something that I also see with relationships, right? We focus so much on the wedding. We focus so much on getting the ring. We focus so much on becoming the wife or becoming the husband. But it's like, girl, you have to do the work to make sure year after year that your partner is satisfied, that you are showing up and you are consistently doing the work that you did to win them over. And so I find that in our customer life cycle, our clients typically stay with us for about 2 years. Our programs are only 6 months long. So for somebody to trust us for 2 years, that means that they have renewed with us. That means that they have trusted us to make additional investments through our other offers. How can you essentially retain your client or your customer? How can you make the marriage last for the time frame that you would like it to last? And this is thinking about, how much value can I offer? Where's the furthest place that I can take them within my expertise? So those are all of the things that we think of when it comes to developing our launch cycle. We don't necessarily think too much about the retention. That is like more so of a high level business strategy where we start to think about retention and think about like long-term goals and long-term revenue goals. But when it comes to a launch, a 90-day time frame of doing something, we think to ourselves, who do we even want to serve? How do we want to serve them? And how do we position ourselves with our messaging? Then what type of content do we need to create to attract them? Then how can we incentivize them so we can get their information and figure out exactly who would actually want to potentially work with us? And then how do we create an environment where we can invite them to become a client? So that's everything that we think about when it comes to doing our launch strategy and our marketing strategy. If you are working on having an upcoming launch and you need support with really just trying to figure out what should I actually be doing, I have created a free launch kit that really helps us to prepare for all of our launches. This is a launch kit that is inside of one of our high-level programs that our clients use as well that I think would be a really good foundational resource for you. So if this is something that you want to leverage, go to mayaelious.com/launch kit. I will send it to you for free for a limited time. So make sure that you go download it right now. But let me know, how do you feel about launching? How do you feel when it comes to launching something new for the first time? Do you get excited? you get nervous? Are you scared? Are you still kind of procrastinating on doing your own launch? I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments how you feel about launches. And of course, go download that free resource so you can alleviate some of those nerves. All right. Until next time, work hard so you can live soft.